That missile just flew 1,500 kilometers, through rain, through darkness, at 880 kilometers per hour, and it hit a target the size of a window. It was built by one company, Raytheon Technologies, now called RTX, the world's largest missile manufacturer, the company that arms the United States military, 40 allied nations, and directly shapes every major conflict on Earth. In 2023, RTX earned $74.3 billion in revenue. It employs 185,000 people. It manufactures over 100 weapons systems, and somewhere in the world right now, a missile with RTX stamped on it is either being fired or is the only thing standing between someone and the people trying to kill them. So, how big is Raytheon? Raytheon was founded in 1922, not as a weapons company, as a refrigeration company. The name Raytheon comes from Greek. It means light of the gods. The founders were trying to make better radio tubes for home appliances. Nobody was thinking about missiles. World War II changed everything. The US military needed radar, and Raytheon was one of the few companies in America that understood how to make microwave electronics work at scale. Raytheon produced 80% of all proximity fuses used by the Allied forces in the war. The device that makes an artillery shell explode at exactly the right moment near its target, not when it hits, when it is close enough to destroy. This technology saved tens of thousands of Allied lives. After the war, Raytheon pivoted entirely into defense electronics. Radar systems, missile guidance, electronic warfare. The company understood one thing better than almost any other. The future of warfare was not bigger explosions, it was smarter guidance systems. In 2020, Raytheon merged with United Technologies, the company that made Pratt & Whitney jet engines and Sikorsky helicopters, to form RTX. The combined company became the second largest defense contractor in the world overnight. Most people know one Raytheon product, the Tomahawk cruise missile, but Raytheon's weapons portfolio is far wider than most people realize. The Tomahawk, the most deployed precision strike weapon in history, 2,500 kilometers range. GPS guided, can fly at low altitude to avoid radar, can be programmed to fly a specific route around mountains and buildings before hitting its target. Over 2,000 Tomahawks have been fired in combat since 1991. The hit rate is above 85%. The AIM-120 AMRAAM, the air-to-air missile that every NATO fighter aircraft carries. When an F-35 or F-16 fires a missile beyond visual range, this is what it fires. Over 10,000 have been built. It has been used in air combat more than any other beyond visual range missile in history. The Stinger, a shoulder-fired surface-to-air missile that a single soldier can carry and fire. It became famous in the 1980s when the CIA supplied it to Afghan Mujahideen fighting Soviet helicopters. It became famous again in 2022 when Ukrainian forces used it to destroy Russian helicopters in the opening weeks of the war. The Patriot system, the most widely deployed air defense system in the world, operated by 18 countries, designed to shoot down ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and aircraft simultaneously. A single Patriot battery costs approximately $1 billion. Saudi Arabia, Japan, South Korea, Israel, Germany, and now Ukraine all operated. And India. India has been in advanced discussions to purchase the Patriot system. If that deal closes, Raytheon becomes a central pillar of India's air defense architecture. The Javelin, yes, the same Javelin from the Lockheed Martin story. Raytheon co-develops the Javelin with Lockheed Martin in a joint venture. Every Javelin that destroyed a Russian tank in Ukraine had both companies' technology inside it. And then there are the classified programs. Raytheon's Missile Systems Division in Tucson, Arizona runs some of the most secretive weapons development programs in the US defense system. Hypersonic glide vehicles, directed energy weapons, Next-generation air defense interceptors. The public portfolio is just the beginning. Let us talk about what RTX looks like as a business. 2023 revenue, $74.3 billion. Employees, 185,000 worldwide. Countries supplied, over 40 nations. Pratt & Whitney engines power 1 in 3 commercial aircraft globally. The U.S. Navy holds approximately 4,000 Tomahawks in inventory. Over 240 Patriot batteries are deployed across 18 countries worldwide. $74.3 billion. RTX earns more revenue than the entire GDP of Ethiopia, a country of 130 million people. But here is the detail that defines what RTX actually is. RTX is not just a defense company. Half its revenue comes from commercial aerospace. Pratt & Whitney jet engines power 1 in every 3 commercial aircraft flying today. Collins Aerospace, another RTX division, makes the avionics and cabin systems for Boeing and Airbus aircraft worldwide. This dual nature, defense and commercial, is what makes RTX different from Lockheed Martin or Northrop Grumman. When defense budgets fall, the commercial side absorbs the impact. When airlines suffer, defense contracts provide stability. The business is structurally hedged, and the Ukraine war unlocked something dramatic. In 2022 and 2023, RTX saw extraordinary demand for its weapons. Stingers, Javelins, Patriot interceptors. Production lines that had been running at peacetime capacity suddenly needed to run at wartime levels. RTX publicly stated it could not produce Stinger missiles fast enough to meet demand. A weapon designed in 1972 suddenly became the most urgently needed item in the U.S. arsenal. The Tomahawk missile has been continuously upgraded since 1983. The latest Block 5 variant can change its target mid-flight, circle a target area, waiting for the right moment, and then strike. It is essentially an unmanned aircraft that only flies once. Raytheon's Missile Systems Division in Tucson, Arizona, is one of the largest single employers in the state. Over 15,000 people build weapons in the Arizona desert. The AMRAAM missile has been used in over 10 actual air combat engagements. Its kill ratio is classified, but it has never been publicly reported as missing its target in combat. RTX's Pratt & Whitney division builds the F-135 engine, the most powerful fighter engine ever made, powering every F-35 on Earth. Without RTX, the F-35 does not fly. $74 billion. 185,000 people. The missile that flies 2,500 kilometers and hits a window. The engine that powers the most advanced fighter jet ever built. The air defense system protecting 18 countries from missiles launched by their enemies. Raytheon does not make headlines. It does not have a consumer brand. Most people have never heard of it. But the next time a conflict breaks out somewhere in the world, and a missile is fired with precision that changes the outcome, there is an excellent chance it came from a factory in Tucson, Arizona. That is how big Raytheon is. Next, India spent 35 years building its own fighter jet. Every expert said it couldn't be done. Here's the full story of the Tejas. Subscribe. I'll see you there.